Hello and welcome to our virtual Lunch and Learn, Reducing Farm and Agribusiness Expenses. My name is Tim Hicks and I'm in the Strategic Partnerships Department with Ohio Farm Bureau. So today's program is part of Farm Bureau's continued efforts to help members gain the resources and information to be better farmers and business people. By bringing together our key partners and their subject matter experts, the next several minutes are your chance to gain insight and ask questions to better manage your costs for a more profitable 2021. We heard from leaders at Farm Credit Mid-America discuss managing variable costs. Today, we're going to cover two kind of disparate topics, energy and insurance, to discuss ways you can protect your business and reduce your annual expenses. Now, both sessions will soon be available on our website, so if you find this informative, please feel free to share with others in your network. So with that, I'd like to introduce the first of our two presenters for today's session. Rick Davidson is principal and co-founder of Community Energy Advisors, located in Medina. He brings over 24 years of combined energy trading and retail marketing experience in the electricity and oil markets. A leader that has the ability to analyze situations, capitalize on opportunities, and drive success. His extensive experience includes management, sales, trading, marketing, forecasting, budgeting, and operations across multiple channels, assuring regulatory compliance in the energy industry. Now, Rick and his team are the third-party administrators of the Ohio Farm Bureau's energy program, which has really been an invaluable resource over the last few years for so many of our members, helping to save literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for folks. So with that, Rick, I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to you. Thanks for joining us.
Education, protection, and savings. And unfortunately, the education and protection piece continues to grow because there are so many scams and frauds in the marketplace today. And we continue to see members getting caught up in bad situations. And so we try to stay in front of it the best we can, ultimately driving savings for members. But some of the things that you want to be careful with, what's happening out there today is many of you may have received a call already or will receive a call about rebate offers. And what they're doing is they're leaving a message if you don't pick up, and they say that the utility overcharged you, that you have the ability to get a rebate from them. And what they will ultimately want to do is they want you to sign up on their supply agreement. And ultimately it'll cost you more money and the rebate's not going to come. So the PUCO is trying to figure out who's doing it. But unfortunately, as soon as this one stops, another one starts. And in many cases, when folks sign up in these type of situations, they're already in a contract. And so they'll get early term fees. So you want to be very careful. We are a free resource for you. So if there's ever any questions or any weird feelings that you have, reach out to us. Let us help you navigate through that so you're protected. Multi-level marketing. Folks are getting caught up in these multi-level marketing programs where it's a brother, it's a friend that's selling energy that's not an expert. And ultimately they're signing up for companies that are multi-level marketing, and it's costing you more money. And a lot of times you don't realize it until you start looking at the bill. And in many cases, we're seeing rates 8, 9, 10 cents for multi-level marketing companies, and the market's really 5 cents. So you want to be careful. You want to make sure that who you're signing up for, you understand the rates, you understand what's happening, and we can help you with all of that. Introductory and variable prices. We see bills every day come in where people are paying 2 to 3 times over market price. And a lot of times folks just think that energy costs are going up, so it makes sense for their bill to go up. But the reality is it's because they got caught up in a variable introductory price that after the first month, it starts creeping up. And before you know it, over the next 3 to 6 months, you're paying 2 to 3 times the market. I would encourage you that when you pay your bill, and a lot of people are paying online, look at the copy of your bill, circle a copy of the rate that you're paying each month. Make sure you're paying attention to that, because that's a quick, easy check for you to make sure that you're not paying more than what you contracted for. In many cases with variable prices, we're seeing, especially during these COVID times, that people have been furloughed or people are switching jobs that have signed up with a contract 2 years ago. Well, now they're no longer with the company, and the company doesn't realize that a contract's been signed. And then once that contract ends, it rolls to a month-to-month variable and prices start to creep up. So if you own a company and you're having an admin person or a CFO manage your energy costs, make sure you have a copy of that contract, as well as put it on the tickler on your calendar to make sure you know when your contracts end. Now, through our program, we'll reach out to you to renew you and make sure that it doesn't get caught up into a monthly variable. But many times, folks, it's not your core business. And so you're getting a lot of calls and you don't know who to even, who to talk to or who to trust. So I would encourage you to have a copy of that contract, whoever's managing that, because it can be costly and you want to protect yourself from that. Power shutoff scams. With COVID times, this is starting to ramp up where folks are paying their bills a little bit late. They're getting disconnection notices. So there are people that are just robocalling you saying that they're from the utility and that they will be at your business within an hour to shut off your power. Unfortunately, there are people that are struggling to pay their bills. And so they start second guessing themselves. Like, you know what, maybe I didn't pay this bill. Maybe I didn't mail it in. And so they end up going to the grocery store, buying a prepaid credit card, calling the customer back and giving them that prepaid credit card. And it's an absolute scam. So you just want to be careful with that. Again, we're a free resource. Give us a call and we can help you navigate through it. They're also sending it out through emails. And in some cases, they're actually telling you that they changed out some of your meters and your equipment and they want you to pay. So all these things are things that you want to be aware of. And as we push things out to you, just pay attention to them. The utility, typically the utility has all your information, so they don't need a copy of your utility bill. As well as these power shutoff scams, the utility does not accept prepaid credit cards.
Yes, this is Laura Adams, and I'm calling in reference to the supply charges on your electric account. I was just looking at the records. You had enrolled in a customer choice program for a reduced supply rate, and unfortunately, that's coming to an end, which could increase the cost. You can give me a call back at 513-506-7939, and your record ID number to refer to when you call back is E018-8278. Again, that's E as in Edward 018-8278. Thank you.
So the reason why I played that was that actually came to John Merrihew, and that is a supplier that is reaching out and just robocalling customers. They don't have your contract information. They're not part of the Ohio Farm Bureau Energy Program, but they make it sound like they are. They make it sound like they know when your contract ends. What happens is you end up sending them bills, they enroll you in a program, and then ultimately your current contract hasn't expired yet, and then you get early termination fees. So when you call them back and say, well, I'm part of the Farm Bureau Energy Program, the way they respond is, yes, your contract's up for renewal and we need to get you signed up right away. They have no idea. So you want to be very, very careful. And again, if we're going to reference the Ohio Farm Bureau Energy Program, we have your contract information. We have all the details behind it. So we'll be reaching out during your renewal times, but you can always reach back out to us if you do have any questions about some of the calls that are coming in. Talk about the gas market a little bit. So you can see that in 2016, the gas market, the NYMEX, almost reached $4. And we are at a point now where we're roughly about $2.50. But over the last several months, you can see the volatility that is happening. And so we are encouraging folks to really take a look at locking in some mid to long-term contracts because these prices could start creeping up. And if you are in a current contract today that doesn't end for another year, you can actually lock in today, sign up today, take advantage of the low prices. It won't start for another year when your contract ends, but you're securing that from a budget perspective. So if you haven't looked at it, send in a copy of your bills to us. Let us take a look at it, but we are definitely encouraging folks to definitely lock in some mid to long-term contracts to avoid some of this volatility. On the electricity side, prices are definitely going up, and we are seeing some volatility, but the good news is that the electricity market is still relatively low. But we are transitioning from fossil fuels to more renewables. And again, this is a perfect opportunity to take a look at your current contracts, lock in some mid to long-term contracts today to avoid some of this volatility. But what's really driving the electricity market is capacity, and capacity is made up of your bill and is made up, all of us are paying for it, and it really is for new generation coming on. And so as coal plants shut down and they're bringing on new generation, that's built into our rate. And between this year and next year, that's almost doubling in price. So again, take advantage, lock in some mid to long-term contracts. But there are some ways to mitigate your capacity costs. And if you're a larger user, we can help you understand how you're being billed for capacity, and we can help you mitigate that. If you just reach out to us, we can have that conversation with you. When you're running procurement, whether you're running procurement on your own or using the Farm Bureau Energy Program, there's a couple things that you want to pay attention to. And there's a lot of suppliers out there, but you definitely want to pick suppliers that you can trust. And you want to run a comprehensive RFP with 20 or 25 different suppliers, get their best price, get their best terms. With COVID today, it's really important that you negotiate your supplier terms and conditions that allows you to have a material deviation swing in your contract. So that allows you to increase production or decrease production without being penalized. So if you don't have that built into your contract, and let's say you shut down for a couple months and your usage isn't what it used to be, you could be penalized if you don't have that built into your contract. So we can help you negotiate that. Add drop clauses. If you're thinking about adding additional buildings or dropping buildings that are all part of a big contract, you can actually put an add drop clause in your contract that allows you to do that. So for example, if you own a bunch of restaurants and you're planning on shutting 2 down but opening 2, you can add those in and drop those throughout the term of the contract without any penalty. Sales tax. If you are paying sales tax on your natural gas bill and you use natural gas in the manufacturing process or in the cooking process as a restaurant owner, you can reduce your sales tax by that percentage, and we can help you calculate what that looks like. If you're a nonprofit, take a look at your bill. We continue to see folks that are nonprofit paying sales tax on their natural gas bill, and they shouldn't. But a lot of times the suppliers or the brokers aren't filling out the paperwork properly. So take a look at your bill, see if you're paying sales tax. And if you are, make sure you reach out to us and we can help you navigate through that and get that removed, because it can add up to several $100s to thousands of dollars. If you are planning on building a new building on your property and it's going to be new construction, you're going to have a new meter there, you can obtain short-term supply prices during that construction phase. So take advantage of that. That could add up to $500 to $1,000 during those times, and that's money that you can put right back into the building that you're building today. If you're acquiring a business and they have a supply agreement in place today, take a look at that agreement, because if they have some great rates, you may want to include that in the purchase of that building or that business that you're buying. Or if they have an agreement that isn't favorable, you may not want to include that. So as you're acquiring a business or a building, take a look at what that looks like to make sure that you understand if there's any risks from acquiring that with high price of energy. Make sure you work with somebody you trust. You guys receive calls all the time. Everybody can save you money. They promise you that they can save you money. This is a prime example of somebody that during these times really could use the money. They used 220,000 kilowatt hours. They had a rate of 5,675. They received a call from a broker pushing them to sign up right away because prices are going up. We are seeing prices going up, but he was pushing her to sign right away. if she would have signed up with the Ohio Farm Bureau, she would have saved $1,700 per year, but instead she gave it to this broker because the cost that he charged her was much higher than what the Farm Bureau charges. So make sure that you are working with somebody you trust. The Farm Bureau program has been created for you for that reason, but this is $5,100 that she's going to overspend for power that she could have put back into her catering company. Really, the program is designed for your small farm, your residential-based farm, all the way up to large industrial and manufacturing. We can help you understand on the larger side of things how you're being billed from the utility, how they are billing you for demand, how they're billing you for their usage. There are some low-cost opportunities from a real-time monitoring perspective that you can see how you're being charged real-time, and then at the end of the month, it actually reconciles to your bill to make sure that what you're being charged from the utility matches. And we are saving folks, this says about 15%. We are seeing about 18 to 20%. And that number is increasing just because so many people are getting caught up into these scams that are overcharging the customer. So the process is really simple. You basically fill out the back of the form. You send a copy of your recent electric and natural gas bill in, and we'll reach out to you and let you know what those savings opportunities look like. If you're a larger user, there's a lot more analytics that go into it that we can help you with. But that is really the energy program. We are a free resource. Again, for any reason, if you want us to evaluate your current contracts that you're in, send them over to us. Let us evaluate them. But again, we're here to make sure that you're spending the least amount of money in energy, and we'll monitor on an ongoing basis to make sure that your contracts don't get caught up in a monthly variable. So that's my presentation, and I'll turn it back over to Tim.
Thanks so much, Rick. And I would encourage everyone to kind of to consider and take advantage of the program. The program, since its inception, has helped save literally hundreds of thousands of dollars per members over the last few years. And oftentimes it's just that initial hurdle of going through some of the motions around taking that initial step to submit your paperwork and kind of go through that. It's one of those things that folks generally don't like to spend some time, but you spend a little bit of time can really help save you money considerably. And there's no obligation to continue to participate in the program in the event that it's not necessarily the best fit for you. Now I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next and final presenter for today's program. John Pyle is with AssuredPartners, and which is a nationwide appointed insurance agency, and is the Great Lakes agriculture and food practice leader. His experience spans from loss control to underwriting, claims to sales, and this vast experience has proven extremely valuable to his broad client base. His specialty is designing client-specific risk management plans that turn the insurance spend from the traditional transactional process to a proactive strategic plan. He specializes in agriculture and food companies, manufacturing, and government contracts. And John and folks at AssuredPartners, we've been having conversations with them for about a year, and I think that strategic planning process and the approach that John uses in assessing risk for mid and large size agribusinesses, complex farms and agribusinesses, is really something that I think is a real opportunity for folks to consider, kick the tires, and see if it might be a good fit. So with that, John, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it. Rick, great presentation. I sound way cooler whenever Tim reads off all those things than normal. It's not normal that the insurance guy is cool. So thank you, Tim, for that. We're kind of going to continue on my presentation today with something else that most people don't really want to address or deal with. Okay, so insurance and risk management. Okay, so we're here to discuss really how to save money on the insurance premiums and how to reduce or eliminate risks in our operations. Okay, so ideally we can do one while achieving the other. But really something to keep in mind throughout everything I discussed today is that the insurance policy is really just a very, very small part of the overall big picture, okay? Before we can really kind of do either, we really need to go over a quick baseline education of how insurance works. Because most people aren't aware of this, and it's no fault of your own for not knowing, but this is sort of how it works, okay? And this is for both your property and casualty insurance, the general liability, the property, the work comp, et cetera, as well as the employee benefits side, okay? So everything I go over today applies to both sides of the house, okay? So let me start by saying I know no one likes insurance. Not quite yet, Tim. You can back up to the first one. Thank you, sir. No one really likes insurance. No one likes dealing with it. Okay, so it's a very odd product. Okay, so it's not something that you want to buy, but you have to because it's the law, right? It's normally expensive enough that it makes you angry whenever you buy it. It's not a product that you ever want to use because if you do, something terrible has happened in your life. And then whenever you do need to use it, you don't know how it works, right? So I don't know that there's another product out there like that. So it's a very odd product to work with. So you take all of that, you insert that into the normal day of a farmer, of a dairy owner, of a food manufacturer, right? Insert the name of your company. And it's not something most people want to deal with. They don't have the patience or time, right? So historically, this is how it works. They reach out to a local agent. They say, hey, I need some coverage. Here's what I do. Can you get me a policy? The agent gets the coverage, writes the policy, and you feel good. You're covered, right? So every few years, you reach back out to your agent, ask them to check on your policy. You haven't had any claims or very few claims, but the price keeps going up, right? Maybe you had a piece of equipment burn up, right? And it wasn't covered the way you'd hoped or expected. And it's not that you don't trust your agent, you're just trying to keep them honest, right? I get that a lot. Really all you're doing is just trying to make sure you're getting a good deal, right? The biggest bang for the buck. So you may even ask another agent to come in and quote and see what they can do for you. Now, most people don't know that the insurance industry quirk called blocked markets, right? It essentially works like this. You ask the second agent to give you a quote, but he can't without loss runs, which is essentially a history of your losses, right? So where do you get that loss history? You get it from your current agent. So as soon as you ask your current agent for the loss history, they think, oh, they're shopping their insurance, okay? So what they do is they immediately take all your information and send it out to every carrier that they have a contract with, okay? They give you the loss runs. You happily give those to agent number two. Agent number two takes those, put together his whole submission, reaches out to all the carriers, and lo and behold, they tell that second agent that he has been blocked. He's not the first one in. The original agent has actually sent out a submission on your account for your business to all those carriers. So he has essentially blocked all competition on your account. Okay, so it's not bad, it's not immoral, it's a common business practice in insurance. It's quirky, yes. So first in gets the business or gets the opportunity to quote with that carrier. So while it's not bad and it's not immoral, it's not beneficial for you. Okay, so it's not beneficial for the farmer, the business owner. No one is really competing for your business. Okay, so here's educational piece number one in our quest to save money today. Pick the right agent to represent you and your business. Okay, you don't need multiple agents, and they don't need to be a big agent, but they need to have contracts with several companies that all want to compete for your business. Okay, Tim, you can move to slide number 2, please. Thank you. This is how it works 99 times out of 100. Okay, so I've been doing it a long time, and literally 99 times out of 100, this is the way that it works. So you feel you're doing the right thing by getting multiple agents competing for your business. While in reality, like I just explained, there isn't really any competition going on. Okay. On a side note, I would make sure that the agent that you work with has access to Nationwide. They're great across the board, really about anything you want to do, they're great with, but in agribusiness space, especially, they need to be one of the companies that you have access to. Okay. So I spent nearly a decade with the Nationwide group. I got my start there. So Admittedly, I'm a bit biased, but I use them and present them all the time. I mean, they really are just the best. So make sure whoever you pick has access to Nationwide and their entire suite of products. Okay, so Tim, you can move to slide 3. All right, so this is the ideal situation. Okay, you have one agent who has all your info and has all the markets. This is the way to get companies competing for your business. Okay, that agent can play all the other companies off each other to find you the best coverage, the best pricing, everything. Okay, this is the first step in really saving money on your insurance premium. Okay, so step number 2, find an agent who specializes in what you do. Okay, the days of the generalist insurance agent are they're really over. Take myself. I'm not a salesperson at all. I have a lot of clients, but I've never sold anything. So I have clients because I'm a consultant to them, okay, a business advisor. No different really than a banker or investment person or attorney, right? So actually the attorney is a pretty good comparison. Let's take the attorney. If you ask an attorney what kind of law they practiced, and they say, oh, I can do it all. Really? You can help me with my estate planning and with my taxes, with my real estate contracts, with my international treaties. No, there are attorneys who focus on each of these specialties. And it's the exact same way with insurance. Okay, there's too much at stake and too many moving parts not to have someone who lives and breathes what you do. Okay, so step number 1, pick the agent who has the relationships with lots of companies so they can compete over your business. Make sure Nationwide is one of those. Okay, step number 2, make sure they specialize in exactly what you do. That carries far more credibility with the insurance companies than a generalist. Okay. Step number 3 is make sure your agent really knows your operations. Okay. Not just your current operations, but what your growth plan is. What do you want your operation to look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Your agent needs to be an integral part of your team, a part of your inner circle, right? And here's why. Your agent is your voice to the insurance carrier. And the only thing the insurance company knows about you and your business is what the agent tells them. And this is the big step in not only saving money, but making your operations safer and more profitable. And there are dollars attached to everything your agent does for you in this step. All right. So for example, I have a client who's had several fleet accidents, auto accidents. They were looking at a 30% rate increase in just the auto line alone. Okay, so what I did, I took the team in during the year to fix that problem. So the claim staff, loss control, ex-DOT folks that we have on staff. In the end, we implemented several things, including telematics in the vehicles, to monitor driving, speeding, hard braking, hard turning, all that kind of stuff. That 30% increase disappeared because we found the right levers to pull to make a difference. Okay, so in this scenario, the company may not have done anything at all if I weren't a part of the team and knew what to do to help. But I was a part of that inner circle and I helped them fix that problem. And here's the key point. I relayed it to the insurance company so they knew what had been done to control that risk. Okay, so on average, a company with a driver safety program in place, they save around 12% on that line of business. So you ask yourself, do you have a driver safety program in place? And if so, are you getting credit for that? And if you don't, why not? It's really easy to implement. You can do it and immediately start saving money. Okay, so that's one financial lever that you can pull to put money back in your pocket. There are dozens of levers, throughout any organization. They're all different for every company, but there are dozens and dozens of them. You just need to know what those levers are and how to pull them and when to pull them. All right, so here's a little secret. Insurance companies, they don't want to write you a policy. Okay, they will for the right price, but they don't really care if they do. They make their money on the investment side, not the insurance side. Okay, so all they're really trying to do with the insurance side of the business is to not lose too much money, so it affects the investment portfolio. Okay, what the insurance companies want to write are businesses that want to partner with them in controlling risk. Okay, so if you're a company that is active in your risk management and trying to control risk and exposure, who knows all those right financial levers to pull and when to pull them, pulling them again at the right time during the year is extremely important. Those are the companies that get the best price. Those are the companies they compete over. Okay, so Tim, you can go to slide 4. Thank you. So here's the initial questionnaire that we use. I know it's small, it's kind of hard to read, so my apologies for that. But it doesn't have to be exactly like this, but there needs to be some heavy discussion around some of the main points, okay? How do the carriers see us as a company? How do they view us compared to other companies like us? What are the main factors driving our risk management costs? Do we have a full list of all our exposures? How do we get out in front of those to keep them from happening? And if they do happen, how do we mitigate those on the back end to make the claim costs lower? It's a very long list, but every one of those questions are aimed really at accomplishing 3 major goals. Optimizing your coverage, saving you money, and helping you grow your business profitably. Okay, so all of this is still around step number 3. Making sure your agent knows your operations and all those financial levers to pull and when to pull them. So again, every business is different, and most of those levers, honestly, they never get pulled. So having the right person on your team is really critical. So step number 4. Having a process in place to review your operations and make changes throughout the year. So Tim, if you move to slide number 5, please. All right, perfect. So again, this is a piece that I pirated from one of my marketing presentations. So what I'm talking about on this, as far as the having a plan throughout the year, is actually in phase 2, the execution. I'll go over phase 1 briefly, just so you aren't sitting there reading it while I'm discussing phase 2. But the process I use is called blueprint. Okay, so essentially after phase 1, I present everyone with a blueprint. So it starts with the questionnaire that we just saw, plus a few more questions. It takes about 15 minutes or so to fill out. That's the starter kit, the blue, the number 1 up there. So number 2 is discovery. That normally takes about 60 to 90 minutes. And really all that is just an open, honest discussion between your team and mine, right? We take all that information from discovery and go back and do a full assessment on our end. So reviewing contracts and policies, and it's pretty extensive on our end. It takes a lot of time. But once we're done, we come back out and present our findings. So we present you the blueprint. And it basically says, here are the things you're doing well, don't change a thing. Here are a few things that we can tweak and get a better return on the investment. And here are a couple of things we might want to look at implementing over the next 18 to 24 months. So the insurance companies will, look at us a bit more favorably. So in total, you and your team are investing around 3 hours over the whole course of this thing. And again, it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but if you haven't done something like this with your agent, you need to. This is the best way of finding where your risks and exposures are, and building a plan to treat those. And at the same time, building a compelling story to get the insurance carriers to want to compete for your business. So back to step number 4. For me and my team, it's phase 2 here. So on the right-hand side under the execution tab, it's entirely dependent on what we found in phase 1. So we put together a monthly to-do list for every client. And to be clear, it's not a to-do list for the client to do. It's really a list of things my team and I need to monitor over the year from month to month. So again, we can pull the right levers at the right time. That's the goal during the year to get the greatest impact. So we initially meet with the leadership team to discuss what the plans are for the year, and really kind of how we're going to get there. And after that, we really just sort of meet as needed, quarterly, every 6 months, just to reassess. And again, you don't have to do something just like this, but honestly, if you really only hear from your agent if there's a claim or if they pick up the check at renewal, you're not really getting the services that are available and that you're paying for. Okay, so Tim, if you move to slide 6 for me, please. Thank you, sir. Okay, so here's just a quick overview of our blueprint process, and it sort of encompasses everything that we've discussed so far. So I'll leave it up so you can glance through it while I give you another tip. So really, my last tip today is on shopping your insurance. Don't do it more than once every 3 years. Okay. I know a lot of people want to shop it every year to make sure they're getting the best deal. But what happens is if the underwriter from the insurance carrier sees it being submitted every year, they won't really try to win that business. Okay. So with all the expenses involved in writing that policy, it takes the carrier about 3 years to finally make any money on that policy. And that's if there are no claims. Okay. So if they see it every year, they don't think they'll have the chance to retain it long enough to turn a product or to turn a profit. Okay. I recommend to all my clients, they take a look at the market every 3 years. So some want to do it 5. I recommend every 3. Plenty of things can change in the market in 3 years. The last 3 years, auto has gone crazy. The last 2 years, property has gone through the roof. And just this last year alone, umbrella rates have skyrocketed, right? It's really expensive. However, if you show a carrier that, if they really compete and give their best price in coverage, they can win your business and keep that account for a minimum of 3 years. Okay. If you can show them that, they'll compete for your business. So up until now, everything has really been based around, having the right person as a part of your team and really kind of what they can do to help. I wanted to leave you with a few action items today that will immediately make an impact on your bottom line. Okay. So I told you about the savings you can get, having a driver safety program. You can do the same thing with all the other lines. So take the worker compensation coverage. Do you have a safety manual? Do you have regular safety meetings or OSHA trainings? You get credit for these things. Do you have a physician's panel set up? Do you have return to work plans in place? All these things are very easy to do and directly affect not only your upfront premiums, but your choice of deductibles, as well as, lowering the claim payment on the back end, which in turn affects your premium and deductible on the front end, right? So it's cyclical. On the employee benefits side, the best performing and most profitable companies we work with are paying around $2,200 per employee per month. So take a look at yours. How much are you spending? And is it more than that? And if so, why? We've found that with really some simple negotiation on our side, we regularly save a company around 30% in just the pharmaceutical spend alone. I have a manufacturing client where that equated to almost $300,000 this last year. So that was $300,000 of hidden money that was just sitting there and had been for several years. So, it equated to $1.5 million over the time period that if this policy had been in place. So it's a lot of money that's just sitting there that they don't know about, right? So my main point here really is that everything you do is tied to safety and dollars. So the goal is to make sure everything you implement in your operation positively affects your cash flow, makes your company and employees safer, and helps you grow profitably. So Tim, if you'll move to slide number 7, which I believe is our last slide. Great, it's just a PreFarm Scene. So nothing there for you to read or to worry about. So that really brings me to the end of my portion of today. I'm hoping you can see at this point that really the drastic difference of the traditional way insurance has been sold and purchased, which was, as Tim said earlier, a very reactive transactional process, and a really much more modern way that I'm proposing that it be done. The whole presentation today is really based on mitigating your risk and saving money. So take a look at both of those methods from the insurance carrier's point of view. Really, the traditional method is to take your current policy, try and get that carrier to shave 5% off that, right? So either your current agent or your new agent takes your current policy and tries to get that price down. The other way is really a thorough deep dive into the business, the operations, the growth strategy, the safety culture, and to present all of that to several strategic companies and really get them to compete to win your business. Which submission would you really think the carrier is excited to get? Which one would give you the best chance to set you up, the best coverages, help protect you and get the carriers to really compete against each other and give you the best price? My hope is that you're seeing that it's the latter. So what I've agreed with the Farm Bureau to do is that any member who wants to go through the blueprint process I'll do that for them for free. So the exact same process we go through with Boeing and Costco and all of our other big clients. The Ohio Farm Bureau members have access to that for free. Once it's complete, that blueprint is yours. So you can take it to your current agent, have them implement it. You can have myself and my team implement it. It's your choice. But hopefully the goal is that you'll do something with it, because that's really the path to make your company much safer, and to save a lot of money and really take control of what happens with your insurance spend. So, Tim, that's it for me on my end. I'd be happy to answer any questions that are out there. So.
Hey, thank you so much, John, and thanks as well, Rick. I thought the information, kind of the information that was covered in both presentations are kind of like, these are things that the companies and farms and agribusinesses are going to be spending money on. They're not things that we in the business world tend to, it's not like the sexy expenses. These are the things that you have to expend money on, and you kind of get caught in a trap of assuming that everything's the same. It doesn't matter who you go with or what you go with, you're going to get the same outcomes. And I think that both of you did a great job of helping to explain that simply is not the case. Taking a look at some of the expenses that you have on as part of your kind of conventional overhead is something that if you can dig into a little bit deeper, you'll find that there might be some opportunities for you to save. Some of the things that I heard, just to kind of follow up, is especially in the insurance side, John, finding an agency partner that knows your business and the industry. It's really we've been saying that for quite a while. All insurance agencies are not the same. Some are specialists. And depending on the type of operation that you have, your need for a specialist might be a little bit greater or lesser. So if you've got a complex farm, food company, vertically integrated operation, where you're doing a lot of different aspects of production, agriculture, and marketing and processing, that's more complex. There's much more greater risk. You're going to want to have someone that's a specialist in that industry to help be that partner that you described. And I think that finding an active partner, that phrase that you used, a carrier wants to find an active partner in risk management and risk avoidance, I think is really valuable. Now, nationwide, is Ohio Farm Bureau's approved insurance and financial services provider. So we've got a great relationship with them, and we inform them on a regular basis through and through, either it's Ohio Farm Bureau or other state farm bureaus, on ways that they can improve their products, specifically in the farm and food space. And we continue to do that year in year out. And that's why we know that their products are going to be as good as anybody else on the market. And we feel really, really happy with that, and certainly happy to have yourself and other nationwide appointed agencies as resources for our members.
They're the gold standard, Tim. I mean, really, they are. I mean, they're they have the firepower to if there's a product that they don't have, they can create it. So yeah, I use them all the time. I mean, like I said in the presentation, you need to make sure that they're definitely in the running on everything. So
I know, and I thought that kind of overview and explanation of insurance, I found it really helpful to kind of lay the groundwork so that folks can better understand what it is they're shopping for and what it is they're buying. So I appreciate that. Rick, I wanted to ask you a question. So you've been managing the Ohio Farm Bureau Energy Program now for a few years, helped save our members considerable amount of money over the period of time. I know that there are who your energy and natural gas or electricity and natural gas provider has an impact on how our members can interact with the program. Do you mind kind of covering that just real quick and just helping to lay the groundwork so that folks know if they're going to shop for electricity or natural gas through our energy program, what some of the eligibility requirements are for that?
Oh, sure, 100%. And John, great presentation as well. And you know, there's so many similarities. The same thing really occurs in the energy business, that there's a bunch of brokers out there, but the suppliers will only provide pricing to one broker. So if you're trying to have the brokers compete, you're ultimately, in a sense, hurting yourselves, because you really want the suppliers to compete, not the brokers to compete. So again, similar to John, work with somebody that you trust, and then have us go out and work with all the different suppliers. So in our business, you can shop if you're in the regulated utilities of Duke, Dayton, AEP, First Energy. And then on the gas side, Vectren, Duke, and Dayton, and Columbia and Dominion, all those you can shop. If you're in a municipality, you're not able to shop, but that doesn't mean that we can't help you understand how you're being billed from them. So there's a lot of times that if you're getting a bill from your municipality or co-op and you don't understand it, we still provide that assistance to you to help you really understand how you're being billed from them, and some of the questions that you may want to ask them. But in many cases, if you're in a co-op, typically you'll be in a co-op for gas, not electric, or electric and not gas. So if you're unsure, what we tell everybody is send in your bills, let us take a look at them, and then we'll reach back out to you to let you know. But again, it's a lot of it is just some basic things that you need to understand and how they're billing you. Our job is not to have you go out and excuse me, change your HVAC and your lighting and all that. It really is to understand how the utility is billing you so you can make behavioral changes. And in many cases, there's machine equipment that's on, that's just idling, that's contributing to your overall demand charges that you're being billed for, that we can help you understand that, to then shut some of those down, or move those things around to mitigate those costs. And that's all free. So again, just reach out to us. But you know, all things for all people, we can definitely help you understand. As long as you're paying the utility bill, we can help you one way or another.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, and certainly everybody that's in this webinar, that's presenting, even everybody that's here right now pays two bills. They pay an insurance bill and they pay a utility bill. So certainly, I really appreciate you both taking the time to kind of help level set and help our members better prepare for 2021. So it is about 10 minutes to 1. So we're giving everybody back a few minutes of their day. I do want to close with, in addition to extended appreciation to both you, Rick, and John, delivering some of this content, everyone that's participating, to take a look at your, whether it's your insurance, whether it's your utility bill, take a look at that. Reach out to your existing agency if you're working with an insurance. Have a review of your insurance. See what, really dig into what you're spending on that. I think hopefully you'll find that it's worth your time. Might not be the most exciting thing that you really want to do, but when you go through that process, you'll become a better producer. You'll be a better business operator, and there's resources out there to help you navigate that spaces through John, through other high quality, nationwide appointed farm focused agencies, and then through our energy program through Community Energy Advisors. So I really appreciate everyone taking the time this afternoon. Thanks, John. Thanks, Rick. And we'll hopefully see everybody in a prosperous 2021.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all. See you.
Bye.